Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today I figured I would give the 2021 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro a little bit more love and attention. So we'll do a deep dive look at this and highlight, of course, the new features for 2021. I'll remind you guys of what was new in 2020. And of course, just talk about, in general, what makes the 4Runner so special, and specifically, of course, the TRD Pro here, because people love this thing. People absolutely love the 4Runner TRD Pro. People gravitate to it. They buy it for very good reason, I think, and we'll kind of talk through that. But first, I figure let's do a peanut feature. Say hi, YouTube. Crushed it. Buggy? Buggy, what about you? Crushed it. and yes, we do have Mrs. Untamed here, being a supervision for the kiddos as we talk about cars and trucks and stuff. So let's first talk about, in general, what is it about the 4Runner TRD Pro that people love? And keep in mind, this is coming from someone who I've owned the Land Cruiser Heritage Edition for several months. I owned a Tundra TRD Pro and I owned the Tacoma TRD Pro, and I would still argue that there is still reason to get the 4Runner over all of those, honestly. So I'll kind of walk through those as we talk about it here. Oh, that's cute. You got a little tail. Okay. Alrighty. So in general, why is the 4Runner awesome? So I'm just going to kind of list off a few things here, and of course let me know if I'm going to miss a few things for sure, but let me know what I do end up missing. So for starters, a lot of people like it because of its outstanding resale. The residual value on the 4Runner, specifically the TRD Pro, is extremely high. People absolutely love that about it. You can buy it brand new for, right now the MSRP is what, 51 to 53, depending on what you kind of option it with, whether you get the Predator side steps, the cargo pull-out tray in the rear, and a couple of, I think, little small goodies you can option it with. But basically for $52,000, you can drive it probably for 2 or 3 years, drive the crap out of it, put 30,000 miles on it, 40,000 miles on it, and still end up selling it for mid 40s, depending on where you live. Okay, that is a big portion of it though. Depending on where you live, you may not get that much, but very few vehicles can you do that with. Can you drive it for so long and have reliability, peace of mind, and then still get extremely high resale value afterward? That's just because they're awesome. People love them for that reason. What else? So this does have like we talked about before, it does have the 4-liter V6, which is tried and true at this point in time. You can run these things for 300,000 miles with very, very little issue and requiring minimal maintenance along the way. Obviously just doing oil changes for the most part along the way. Outside of that, a thing that really is special with this, as well as the Land Cruiser, is it is still entirely made out of Japan, which is pretty cool. Same with the Land Cruiser, made out of the same plant, if I recall correctly. For the Tundra, that is made out of San Antonio, Texas, which you guys know that for the most part. And the Tacoma, I think they're moving all their production to Mexico here within the next year or two. What else? So again, these are all just kind of general points at the top here. This is that body on frame design, which a lot of people have grown to really love and appreciate, especially with so many vehicles nowadays making that transition to more like the Honda CR-V, I forget what it's even called, but this less of a truck platform, which a lot of people are already starting to miss. So the fact that a lot of the SUVs nowadays are transitioning away from this is another reason why it's becoming a little bit more desirable, in my opinion, because they're becoming few and far between these days. The most obvious, perhaps I should have started with this next one, but it's extremely capable off-road. We talked about the reliability piece of it just being able to go hundreds of thousands of miles without issue, but the fact that it's extremely capable off-road is definitely an important note to make. You got the sheer size of it. It makes it very conducive for trail riding, of course. It has multi-terrain select, crawl control, center diff lock, all the off-roading goodies that you would definitely want to be able to be successful off-road, of course. We got another boger feature. All right. What else? So these are, the next few are kind of more superficial things, but I still think they're important, still important to consider because it does make it special still. So this rear glass here, it comes up and down, which a lot of you guys know that. Same with the Tundra, same with the Sequoia, which is a cool, unique to Tundra, or unique to Toyota feature. This one also has, you can't really see, but up here, it has the rear wiper blade tucked up underneath. So it's definitely, you know, hidden away, nicely tucked away. It looks sleek. Whereas even with the Land Cruiser, you know, it had the traditional blade right across the bottom here mounted. So I don't know, it looks cleaner without it for sure. What else? So really, I mean, just yesterday we had the maiden voyage of the 4Runner here because we were waiting for the temp tag to come in the mail from the dealership. So we ended up getting that. It's in the window there. While we wait for the DMV to actually send. Wait for the DMV to send. Okay. All right. Okay. This is what you get, guys. All right. So you're not going to get a polished review or anything on this channel by all means. You get buggy features and you get peanut features and Mrs. Untamed features with tails. So, all right. Where did I leave off? So this is a little bit more of a raw vehicle, right? I mean, that is, I already kind of mentioned that with the body on frame platform, that truck-like feel. You know, in addition to that, and I'll show you, we'll pop in here. You get that good old-fashioned four-wheel drive select, the manual gear here that you can pop it into gear, pop it into, you know, 4 high, 4 low. This, I don't know, I think this is again another positive thing for him. It's just, you know, super retro at this point, but again, I think a lot of people gravitate to this for that reason. What else? So this isn't really, yeah, I'll still mention it, it's not really at this point a reason to call it raw, but especially coming from the Land Cruiser, the rear hatch itself is pretty cool, right? I mean, the fact that you don't have to, I like the fact that you don't have to push a button and then you gotta wait, what, 8 to 10 seconds for it to close super slowly. I like the fact that you just reach up here. It's one less thing to break, really, assuming the struts don't go out. But I do like the fact that, you know, it's a manual hatch. And we went to a Christmas farm today, so we're really kind of getting some good use out of this little back hatch here, which I personally love this thing. So you just pop it over here, you just pull it out. Forgive me, it's a little dirty now, but I love this thing. You know, we used it as a little mini tailgate, and the kiddos sit here, and we popped on their dirty boots, popped them off, of course, afterward. We absolutely love this. So, cool feature, huge fan. I will not belabor the point any more than that. And, well, if you guys remember, I didn't even know it actually had that until, you know, I'd already taken delivery of this thing, and about 2 weeks later, I finally opened up the rear hatch. Remember, we weren't driving it right from the beginning, and then I stumbled upon it. So it's definitely a pleasant surprise, by all means. All right, we'll close that down. And the last couple things here I have, you know, the fact that it has such simple interior finishes is really what I've grown to appreciate about Toyota at large. And I think I've made this point already too much within my previous videos, but it really is true. The fact that this is, you know, it's just plastic. It's not the swankiest material. You get that, I forget exactly what it's called, the leather tex material here, soft tex material is what it's called, I think. So it's not full up leather, but still a material that's, you know, you're not afraid to get it dirty. You're not afraid to, you know, get it family-atized in here, and then you just kind of wipe it down. Whereas even the Land Cruiser was still simplistic, but by comparison to this, you know, the Land Cruiser was definitely next level swanky. I remember not liking on the Land Cruiser the fact that it had wood trim. Like, it had wood trim up on the top of the steering wheel and a couple other little spots throughout. I remember not liking it at first, but it did feel right. So I did end up kind of growing to appreciate that. So I'll kind of talk out of both sides of my mouth a little bit. But this, I don't know, I've never really been a fan of this super faux carbon fiber here. I don't know, let me know what you guys think of that. I've never really gravitated to that. This system here, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but the fact that it has this updated infotainment center, the updated center stack, I'll show you it with it on here in a minute. I absolutely love it. It has Apple CarPlay, it has Android Auto, you know, everything that you need. So this is a more modernized vehicle when it comes to tech, even compared to the 2020 Land Cruiser. So Land Cruiser is a little bit behind when it comes to the whole tech bit. And when I say simple interior finishes and features, obviously the material itself, which is great, you know, this very, I guess, rubbery plastic feel up here. I love it. I think it's great, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people would get in this and be like, okay, wow, I'm gonna get myself a Hyundai Palisade. You know, so you got people like that that just don't get it, honestly. But I love this. I love how easy and straightforward these buttons are. So the fact that you can just adjust, you know, the mode, the fan mode, of course, the fan speed, the temperature knobs out here. This is what makes the 4Runner special. You know, and a lot of people watching this are like, okay, cool, whatever, dude. But this is, I mean, I love being able to just continue driving down the road on the freeway and just kind of pop my hand over here and adjust it. That's one thing that was not so good on the Land Cruiser either. I definitely don't want to turn this into a bash in the Land Cruiser, because obviously the Land Cruiser is the top tier Toyota, and for good reason. So don't construe it as that. But when it came to this kind of stuff, I think the 4Runner has it down, even compared to the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser was more of an integrated approach within the actual infotainment, which again just took a little more attention to adjust it appropriately. I think that's a good way to say it. Up here, we got your standard multi-terrain select at this point, for the TRD Pro, I should say, and then the crawl control here, right? You guys have seen that, timer 10 at this point. You know, the diff lock, traction control, blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, your sunroof settings there. So I absolutely love this. I can go on and on, but we'll end that portion there. So popping back out here. Compared to the Land Cruiser, I do love the fact that all of the TRD Pros, the Tundra, the 4Runner, the Tacoma, I love the fact that they do have close to no chrome on the outside. You know, that's a big part of the design cues, is just being blacked out, right? So having this front end here with the classic Toyota script is awesome. Absolutely love that. Once I get plates, we'll probably pop on the front plate there, even though it doesn't look as good. Still do that. But yeah, the fact that there's no chrome within it or on it is pretty awesome, and obviously minimal chrome on the inside. I think it's a pretty big deal. Alrighty, so let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about what was the new feature for the 2021 TRD Pro. So obviously not a whole lot. You know, these haven't really evolved that much. In 2020 were the most additions made to it, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But for starters, 2021, they implemented a new, well, not even a new, so it's the same Fox suspension that's on it, but with a new TRD tune. So this TRD tune is supposedly a little bit better for higher speed off-road. So if you're going down trails at a higher clip, yeah, this is going to be a little bit more effective, supposedly. I've yet to try it out just yet, but I will, and I hope to share that with you guys. All right, so that was the first thing. The second thing, this is in no order per se, are these wheels. And, you know, as much as I want to kind of geek out about them being awesome, being way better than the previous ones, I don't know. I think I'd be lying if I said that. I mean, I think they obviously, they look very similar, so there's not going to be a whole lot of difference, but I'd say either way, I think they both look great. I don't necessarily have a preference, though. So these ones have these little ridges, if you will, within here. It's obviously a lot more concave, so it goes inward a lot more than the previous TRD Pro wheels. What else? I believe they're just slightly lighter, so a little bit more effective when it comes to actually performance-wise, but I think that's really about it. Another big change, and I say big with quotes, you know, Toyota finally implemented the LED lights. So the fact that they implemented the LED lights up top for the headlights was a huge deal, just because for the longest time they had LED fog lights down below, but then, you know, regular halogen lights up top. So I mean, yellow lights up top and then the white blue lights down here. So it just did not look fitting whatsoever. But now we got it, finally got it matching across the board, and it looks great now. What else? I think those are the major differences, of course. And obviously with 2021, the exclusive color for this year was that Lunar Rock. And a couple of people have asked me, like, hey, why didn't you get the Lunar Rock before I had the Army Green 4Runner TRD Pro and the Army Green Tundra TRD Pro? Yeah, so some folks are asking me, why didn't I do that? And honestly, at this point, especially since I have the cement Tacoma TRD Pro, I like the variety. I like the fact that I got, you know, 3 different colors, all TRD Pro, and not to mention, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna say this correctly, but the fact that they're all kind of like neutral colors, I think is pretty cool, in my personal opinion. The fact that you got a white, a gray, and then like a different shade of gray, I think looks pretty cool when they're all together. So definitely happy with Super White, and in my opinion, this is I don't know, you can't go wrong with this color. This is like almost like the classic TRD Pro color, in my opinion. I mean, so many people do this. When I've gone out to Hawaii a couple of times for work, and each time I go out there, I feel like a white 4Runner TRD Pro is like the state bird for how frequently you see them everywhere. Definitely super popular out there. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk 2020 though. So in 2020 is when they introduced this guy right here, which is amazing. This is a TRD Catback Exhaust, which, yeah, has a black tip, which is really cool. And I think it has a nice throaty sound to it. Very minimal droning. I think everyone's definition of droning is a little bit different, but to me, I absolutely love it. I think it sounds great, but you do hear it, of course. Trying to think what else. For the 2020, got that TRD Catback Exhaust. Toyota Safety Sense was the huge ad for 2020. I'll show you this this radar up front. You got this guy right here. That is your radar, your sensor, if you will, allowing you to have that adaptive cruise control. So some people are kind of hit and miss with the whole Toyota Safety Sense. I mean, a lot of people do see it as additional nannies, if you will, and additional tech that could potentially break on you. So I see it both ways, I really do. What else? So Toyota Safety Sense, I already mentioned the updated infotainment there, the updated center stack. I'll show you that here. Actually, might as well, let's just pop in and look at that real quick. Actually, in 2020, they implemented the keyless entry and the push to start as well. In 2019, that was not the case, and you had the manual key, of course. So you can kind of see it. White is not the best color to show it on, but you got a couple little dashes right here. Right here, if I got the key on me. Yep, so it locked. And then if you want to unlock it, you guys know this, you just walk up to it with the key in your pocket and it unlocks. So you don't need to beat that to death. All right. We're going to fire it up real quick. It does have the TRD Pro all-weather floor mats throughout, which are nice. A very simplistic, you know, seat adjustments here on the side. Let's hop in. We'll do our push to start here. So I love that. I think that looks great. We'll shut the door too. So 223 miles. So definitely not a whole lot of use so far. Alrighty. So yeah, this whole center stack obviously updated, which is a ton better. This was perhaps, I don't know, the most needed update from the 2019. So this is the change that was made in 2020 again. But in 2019 and older, they had a very, very pixelated center stack here that looked like it was straight out of 2002. Not even kidding. So the fact that they did that is pretty huge. They made the actual tachometer, speedometer here, they made all the gauges actually look a little bit more, I guess, modern, if you will, where they're a little bit more bright and bigger numbers. on the 2019 and older models here. So kind of poke around here too for fun. Ooh, that's not too good. So we're averaging just over 15 miles per gallon. And this is obviously the first tank of gas that came with the vehicle. Just gonna pop through here. All right. Again, I'm just kind of showing this just for the folks who are maybe in the market for one and kind of get an idea of what you're working with. And then this, I absolutely love this. This is a huge improvement. Of course, I think the previous screen, I think, was 6 inches or 7, whereas this one here, I think is the 8 or 8.5. I think 8-inch screen here. So I mean, it definitely looks a lot better. Very simple to navigate. Still, the previous one was too, so that was definitely a good thing going for it. But altogether, it's just, you know, very simple to use. Again, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, everything that you need in a modern vehicle is in here. And again, with awesome, amazing to use gauges, or knobs, excuse me, the tuning knob over there, and then the volume knob. So very tactile feel. I think it's perfect. So I won't. And we got that little clock up there. I feel like we never get that much love, but all right. Oh, one other thing. I have, whenever I get, like, even when I bought the Ram, the 2500, I remember, you know, like instinctively, my hand will always kind of gravitate here for the cruise control. So I've gotten so used to it being in this location, and I think Toyota's done this for so long. I'm not going to even try to name off a date, but I think even my 97 4Runner that I had a while back, I think it even had it right here, if I recall correctly. So it's a super dated positioning in the whole system here, but again, for the sake of ease, if it's not broke, why fix it? So I love that. And obviously, whenever I bought a new vehicle, I'd try to figure out where they were, and typically up on the steering wheel. So definitely going to appreciate that. Kind of give you an idea what the badges look like, or the buttons on the steering wheel. So this lane keep here, this only beeps at you when you're deviating from your lane. So it'll just beep at you. It doesn't like bump you back into the lane, which some vehicles do. Like my Ford Raptor, it did do that. Then of course here, this is the radar up front. So if you're having on cruise control, you can adjust it. You can turn it on and off, of course. It just allows it to be, you know, that adaptive cruise control. You can set your distance of how far back you would like to follow that vehicle. So then of course your pickup, hang up for your phone there. All right, I think talked about everything on the inside. We'll turn it back off here. I'll go show you this LED headlights. I dropped something. That's what we're looking like up front now. Definitely a much needed improvement. I mean, so many people were just so quick to swap them out with LEDs. So that was always your first quote-unquote mod that you need to do to your 4Runner TRD Pro. So looks a ton better. Should have turned on the fog lights too, but they're matching, which you guys know. You guys also know that I installed these RSG Sliders, which I am an absolute fan of. We've got the traction cuts on them with the little shark teeth, so perfect for getting in and out with the kiddos. And there's their nameplate there. So shout out to RSG for making a phenomenal product. Alrighty, let's see. You know, one thing, well, since we're over here, so one other thing that I feel like the 4Runner is definitely behind on, it does not have the blind spot monitors up here. So right here, whenever you got a vehicle in your blind spot, it would light up. So the Tacoma has that, the Sequoia has that, but the 4Runner and the Tundra do not, which I think is a little bit of a drag. Also, these do not have the side mirror heater, so they don't heat up, so they don't whenever it's like this morning, it was super icy and foggy, so they did not actually heat up and thaw out, if you will, so you actually had to get out there and scrape them off. So again, a small gripe, but you'd think something at this price point would implement that, especially since the other pros do. All right, I think we got a couple other things I'll mention here too. Sorry, kind of all over the place, guys. This is another small gripe, but I do love the fact that the Tacoma has a black ceiling, whereas obviously here the 4Runner has a tan ceiling. Same with the Tundra and the Sequoia. But even back in 2017, or even 2016, I think, the Tacoma started implementing a black headliner, which I think is pretty cool. Alrighty, well, I think that about wraps up the 4Runner at large. And forgive me, I know this kind of turned into a longer video, but definitely want to share it with you. My wife and I, we've grown to really love and appreciate this rig. Is it as cool as the Land Cruiser? I mean, yes and no. I mean, it definitely has its perks over the Land Cruiser, but again, I'm not going to try to justify it being better than a vehicle that's nearly double its price tag. So, I mean, the Land Cruiser is $89,000 for a good reason. It is overbuilt. A ton of research and development went into that thing, and they built it to, no kidding, last that 20 years. So to say that a 4Runner TRD Pro is better than it, I think would be just me trying to lie to myself, right? So it is not, but when it comes to the price point, it is a lot more appropriate, I think, and it definitely carries, I think, the same, if not even more, cool factors than the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser is a lot more unique, of course. You definitely see a far less on the road, but then again, they only sell about 3,000 to 4,000 each year, whereas I don't even know the numbers for the 4Runner. I know they've been skyrocketing and growing from year to year, but again, they're growing for good reason, I think. Yeah, so I think we'll leave it there. When it comes to the three of them, we're definitely grateful for it. My wife, she loves driving it. She loves the fact that it's white. She loves that it's not as flashy, of course, as that Voodoo Blue one. And she likes the fact that it's not super expensive either. And not to mention, this one's paid off, whereas the Land Cruiser was not. So I think that is perhaps the coolest part of it all. With that, guys, I will wrap up the video. I appreciate you watching as always. And again, hopefully some of you found this helpful. Until next time.